Really great to have so many fifth graders and teachers and parents in the room. So allow me to go ahead and call the meeting to order. All right, so welcome to the Lake Bluff District 65 Board of Education regular meeting for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Carrie, can we have a roll call, please?
For Andy Duran.
Present.
Ann Hill.
Present.
Mark Berry.
Present.
Carrie Steinbach, present. Tim Penich.
Present.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Present.
Lauren Hirsch. Oh, I see you.
Present.
We see her present. Okay, great. We're all present, so we can begin. And I believe we have a fifth grade student that's going to lead us in the pledge. So who is that? Tegan?
Melissa's gonna lead us in the pledge.
Oh, great. Okay.
She's gonna help with that.
Yeah, why don't you come up here? Thank you. And we have another student, I think Tegan, who is going to read our mission, vision, and values. And for those of you who are in the room for the first time, this is something that our board decided we would do at every board meeting from now until the future. So here we go.
To provide each student with quality instruction, learning opportunities, and educational environments that inspire academic achievement, personal growth, and responsible citizenship, excellent in education, enthusiasm for life, every student, every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That might be the best read. That's great.
All right. And we'll move on to agenda item number 4, public comment. At every Board of Education meeting, we offer the opportunity for members of the public to address the board. So if anybody in the room tonight would like to speak and address the board, now would be your time to do so. Not seeing anybody. Anybody remote?
No.
Okay, we will have an opportunity at the end of the meeting as well. So we will move on to, we're going to actually reorder a couple things here because we have so many students in the room and it's a school night. So rather than save the student presentation from the elementary school for the report section, we're going to go ahead and do it right now. So Mrs. Bay, I'll turn it over to you.
Presenters want to join me? I'll start. Thanks. All right, good evening, everybody. My report tonight is an opportunity to highlight a weekly practice at Lake Bluff Elementary School. It's something our students and staff look forward to each week, something that engages the creators, the audience, and one particular staff member who's getting the chance to show off his own creativity and thespian talents. Our Friday video announcements are not new, but they're certainly becoming a topic of conversation and something to help us wrap up our week in a really special way. I've asked Mr. Nillis and some students from his class to join us this evening to share a little bit about what goes into creating these announcements. Before passing it over, I also would like to acknowledge the consistent and valuable support of Ms. Jackie Tivador in her new role as Technology Curriculum and Innovation Specialist. She plays a crucial role in creating, putting together recording, scripting, editing, showing in classrooms where there's guest teachers each week. So a big shout out to Ms. Tivador, Mr. Nillis, Mrs. Sheridan, Ms. Platt, Mrs. Lennox, and their fifth grade students for taking the time to create something very special each week. I'm going to pass things over to Mr. Nillis, Lily Picorni, and Tegan Tapio to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Mrs. Bay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to the school board for inviting us and to the thousands in attendance and the millions watching at home. Very excited to talk about the Friday video announcements. However, this project isn't about the teachers. It's about the kids. So let's hear about the video announcements from them. I have a couple students who are going to talk about the video announcements, and they're very anxious to talk about it. So please welcome Lily Picorni again and Tegan Tapio.
Hello, my name is Lily Picorni.
And my name is Tegan Tapio, and we are fifth graders from Mr. Nellis's class.
This year, fifth graders have been creating weekly video morning announcements. Each week, a different homeroom is responsible for creating them to start to finish.
We start the process on Mondays with script writing and filling out Google Form to request what role we want for that week. The roles are being on camera, directing, producing, and editing.
Then, starting Tuesday, we practice our roles and decide where we want to film. Sometimes we film around the school, and sometimes we use a green screen. Then we film and edit, and then the announcements are sent to the school to enjoy Friday mornings.
This week, our class is doing the announcements, and we always look forward to putting it on our own spin on it.
So we have a pretty good representation from the Nillis class tonight. The kids are going to go down the order and say what their favorite part of the video announcement process is and why that's their favorite. So we'll once again start with Lily. Go ahead.
My favorite part of the announcements is bloopers, because I think it's really funny and everyone likes it.
My favorite part of the announcement is also bloopers because I love watching them at the end.
Please welcome Charlotte McIntyre.
My favorite part about the morning announcements is being on camera and the beginning of it, because it's just fun to do things a lot with people and see what with the bloopers in the films are, and yeah.
Thank you, Charlotte. Charlie Longworth.
My favorite part of the video announcements is the beginning and the bloopers, and because it's just fun.
Thank you, Charlie. Harper Seymour.
My favorite part of the video announcements is the editing part, because you get to see all the things put together and you work in front of everybody else.
Thank you, Harper. Maha Kode.
My favorite part about the morning announcements is the introduction, because I like how Mr. Nellis always has nice ideas.
And rounding out our representatives from our class, Jolie Kayali.
I really like how we work together, but then and then we goof around, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in the bloopers, so it's fun.
Thank you, Jolie. Thank you. I think we have an actual video announcements to show. This is the one the most recent one that we did. I think it was in the middle of November, maybe a week or two before Thanksgiving break. I'll talk one more second. So we were the first class to be asked to make the video announcements in the whole school. So there was really just a blank template with what we wanted to do with it. And if anyone is familiar with any of the pandemic videos that I made a couple years ago, this is kind of like my bread and butter. I love kind of just being creative and being funny. So we said, let's start with a skit. And that idea has kind of been the blueprint now for the rest of the fifth grade classes. So enjoy our announcements. Okay, fifth grade, when you get your paper, please put your name at the top. All right, first thing you do. Thank you. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Name at the top, okay? I don't want to get any papers without any names on them. Yes.
Mr. Nellis, we need 3 more extra papers.
I thought I made enough copies. You guys don't have enough? Julie, can I borrow this? Okay. I'm gonna go make some copies. The copier's right down the hall. I'll be back in 1 minute. I want this room to look exactly like it did when I left. Okay?
Okay.
I don't want any bad reports. Bridget, you're in charge. I'll be right back.
Guys, we have 1 minute and 17 seconds till he comes back.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought I made enough copies. Fifth graders, I can't leave the room for 1 minute without something going wrong. How did this get here?
Good morning. Today is December 9th, 2022. My name is Bruce.
And my name is Charlotte. These are your Friday morning announcements.
Today is Sloan Gore and Ryan O'Connor's birthday.
Tomorrow is Jamison Scott's birthday, and Sunday is Ethan Conkle's birthday. Happy birthday.
Lunch today is grilled cheese with mashed potatoes and green beans. The treat is a flavored cookie.
Today is National Lost and Found Day. Be sure to check the Lost and Found for any lost items.
Now it's time for your weather report.
I am Rylan.
And I'm Charlie, and we're here for your weather report.
Today's weather will be a chance of rain with a high of 46 degrees.
Tomorrow there will be cloudy skies with a high of 42 Fahrenheit.
Sunday will be about the same, but hopefully a little less cloudy.
Want to hear a joke? What's a Christmas tree's favorite candy?
I don't know, candy canes?
No, a ornament.
What do you call a bear with no teeth?
I don't know. What?
A gummy bear.
And now, word from our sponsors.
Are you tired of doing the same old activities over the weekend?
Are you bored of the open gyms at the Park District? Are you all bounced out at Sky Zone? Have you had too much chlorine at Great Wolf Lodge? Well, the Noah's Clock Dance Party is here to boogie your blues away.
We'll have country line dancing.
Hip-hop break dancing. Ballet dancing.
And freestyle dancing. Come on over to the Nails Class Dance Party Saturday, December 10th at 7 p.m. See you there.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be interviewing the wonderful adults that work at the front desk of the OBES. Hi, I'm Jaden, and we're going to ask them where they're from.
Hi, I'm Maha. We're also going to ask them what they like about Lake Bluff. Enjoy!
Dominic, and this is Mrs. Bay.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody's been wondering, where's your family from?
Oh, good question. I was born in Iowa, but I didn't grow up there. My parents live in a suburb about an hour from here in a town called West Dundee.
And what is your favorite thing about Lake Bluff?
Oh boy, this is a good question. Can I share too?
Yes.
I love the people. Everybody here is so kind and caring and considerate. They love to have fun, and they love each other. They just want to support one another. And I also love the beach. Lake Bluff Beach is one of the happiest places for me. I try to get down there any time of year. It always feels good to just listen to the waves and check out the view.
Nice. Back to you, Jaden. Hi, my name is Jaden Lim, and today I'm going to interview Miss TK, our assistant principal. Where's your family from, Miss TK?
My family's from Lake Forest, Illinois, right next door.
That's awesome. Miss TK, what do you like about Lake Bluff?
The thing I like most about Lake Bluff is the downtown area. It reminds me of a small town in New England where you can walk around, visit all the shops, see all the people, go to the green space in the gazebo, and if you want, you can walk down to the lake.
That's awesome. Now to you, Maha.
I'm Maha, and I'm here interviewing our amazing school secretary, Miss B. And I have two questions for you today. The first question is, what is your favorite thing about Lake Bluff?
What I can say is I'm new to the area, and what I've noticed is that everyone is very, very friendly.
I'm glad to hear that. And second question, where is your family from?
My family is from two small towns. My mom is from La Joya, Durango, and my dad is from El Calabazal, Zacatecas.
Lovely. And back to Jolie, who will be talking about the bus.
Hi, I'm Jolie, and sometimes people aren't filling out the bus forms. Bus forms are for whenever you see somebody doing something bad or makes you or somebody else feel uncomfortable. You can find the bus forms in this office. Hey, Mrs. Barrientos, can I have a bus form? This is the bus form. Don't be afraid to report anything you see that makes you or someone else feel uncomfortable.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy weekend. Let's all try and earn pause tickets. Practice kindness, act responsibly, welcome challenges, and show respect. Here's the inspirational quote of the day. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Have an excellent weekend!
I'm Jolie, and I've never...
I'm not doing this. The following commercials.
You're not supposed to say that!
So you can see the morning announcements videos kind of end right around lunchtime. And they just get longer and longer. Any questions from the board for our student producers, actors, script writers, editors?
I don't have a question, but well done, you guys. That was really wonderful.
How do you memorize your lines?
Let's go Harper. How do we memorize our lines?
So we don't actually memorize our lines. Basically, we have the camera here, and then the computer is out of the side of the camera. So basically, we kind of memorize them, but if we have any problems, then we check back.
Gotcha. Good idea.
I have one. What's your favorite thing about being in Mr. Nillis's class?
How about we just go down the line here? All right, Lily, take it away.
He lets us be creative with the announcements. You know, he kind of lets us do whatever we want with it. Put our ideas together with it. We had to sword fight with Rose. That was cool.
My favorite part about being in Mr. Nelson's class is how fun the morning announcements can be and like the skit in the beginning from your creative ideas.
What I like about being in Mr. Nelson's class is because he's funny, nice, and he's a good teacher, and he does good morning announcements
My favorite thing about being in Mr. Nelson's class was kind of what like Charlotte said. Yeah, it's like he's just a great teacher. My favorite thing about being in Mr. Nelson's class is that we both have a lot of stuff in common, especially cats. Oh, cats. Yes, cats, and I'm jealous. But yes, it's awesome.
My favorite thing about being in Mr. Nelson's class is how he's always creative and he's a really nice teacher, and he has some separate activities for us to do, like for example, something in math called the TMP.
Thank you, Mom.
I really like that, like, sometimes he makes us do like spelling tests and math time tests, which other people don't do, which shows that he cares about like how much like info we get, rather than other teachers who also care, but they don't do separate activities. Also, a memory I had was, which made me happier. I told my mom I wanted Mr. Nillis. Everyone said he was amazing, and then she told me I got Miss Mike.
Wait, is it him?
Miss
Thank you, Jolie.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions for our fifth graders and their teacher? Well, thank you all very much for being here tonight, and you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like. Lots of great stuff, but you're also welcome to take your parents and leave if you. So, beautiful. Good job. Mrs. Bay, anything else from you?
I just want to say, sometimes I feel bad. It's a long day for teachers, and then to come and present is also another layer, but it's nice to be able to compliment your teacher and sing their praises. So, Mr. Nillis, thank you for being here, and thank you for having us. It's great to show off our students.
Thank you. I'll wait.
Yeah, let's just wait a minute. Super cute. It is a cute age.
And then they become 6 bears. And then they become...
Been teenagers. Just
Oh, downhill. Thank you.
All right, we will go ahead and move on. Thank you again, moms and dads and students and Mr. Nillis. Okay, great. We have another very special visitor. I don't know if it's quite as special as the last ones, but we do have a special section of our agenda tonight. And we're love to welcome Matthew Montgomery, Dr. Matthew Montgomery from Lake Forest District 115 and 67. Lisa, I don't know if you want to intro at all.
Sure. No, happy to have Dr. Montgomery here. As you know, one of our goals has been to partner alongside District 67 and 115 and to ensure that our communities are on the same page. And I just think this is a great opportunity to have Dr. Montgomery here to explain a little bit more about the referendum, answer any questions that you might have, just so that our community can hear directly kind of the goals and the big ideas of that plan. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much, Lisa, and thank you for having me. It is always difficult to follow students, especially students as special as those, and I definitely want to be in that classroom because it sounds like the students adore him, so you are lucky to have him. Tonight, I will be covering 5 quick topics, and I promise I will be concise. I have been in those chairs, and I appreciate the dedication, the time you're giving up to be here, so I will try to keep it as tight as possible. If you would please advance. Thank you. So I'm going to go over quickly the why of the referendum, some of the details within it, benefits as the district sees them, some questions that we're hearing, and then I'll turn it over to you for questions. My goal is 10 minutes or less to be speaking with you and then open it up for questions. And I'm starting a timer, so I'm going to stay true to that. Because as a superintendent, I know how to run my mouth. It's a genetic disorder. So one more, please. So to start with the why, there's 2 key themes for why. And for me, it's protecting our investment and finishing what we started. So it is an 88-year-old building, and we invested in it, the collective, we invested in it in 2006 with an addition, and we touched half of the classrooms. The referendum this time is going to address the classrooms we didn't address, as well as key infrastructures to make sure that that building is open for many years in the future. When I talk about how much the referendum is covering, it is for $105.7 million, and it's split in half with those 2 topics, 50% or 52% with infrastructure and then 48% with instructional upgrades. And you can see how that's divided in the pie chart, but it's ranging from HVAC, safety and security, roofing on the right, to science labs, student services, modernized furniture. When I think of key benefits, we've kind of chunked it into 5 sections, and the 5 sections are maintenance and infrastructure, safety, security, ADA accessibility, student support spaces, and labs, classrooms, and technology. If I touch on labs, classrooms, and technology first, when I think of the environments that the students are coming from 67 and 65, they're far more modernized than where they end up at the high school. So the students report, as well as the staff, that they're regressing. If you particularly look at just the science labs alone, it's like they're going back in time with those experiences, and we want to make sure that they're not regressing in grades 9 through 12 and then going off to college. We would love to be able to mirror what's happening in 65 and 67, particularly in the middle school laboratory environments. Safety and security, maintenance and infrastructure, and then ADA accessibility. If you just look at the restrooms alone in accessibility with our students with multiple abilities, from drinking fountains to their lab environments to how they're able to just use the restroom, there's some modernization that needs to happen in that 88-year-old building. What we're hearing, and I'm going to go for some about, if you keep going, thank you so much, my friend, to the support and questions. We're good now. So there's, a few questions that I have on the next set of slides that I'm going to go over. There are people who are supporting, there's people who are questioning, there's people who are opposed, and everything in between. So I'm going to kind of rapid fire some key things that I'm hearing. And I'll just go from the top down. So one of the questions I'm hearing is, why would you give the district more funding when the test scores are declining? I have been transparent this year and last, looking at both 67 and 115 about a state of continual improvement and owning the data in a transparent way and developing plans to address any shortcomings. And you can see in 67 a different picture from 115, but if we're looking at 115 alone, SAT and ACT scores are dipping slightly, and we're developing plans with Dr. Lennart on how we are addressing supports for our students as they are fluctuating post-COVID about how to turn that ship around. But it's important to zoom out a little bit farther. While we're in a state of continual improvement, our ELA scores, if you look across the state, we're in the 98th percentile. And in math, we're in the 99th percentile. So if someone tells me that, well, you're 62% in ELA readiness at the high school, you have to translate to what that really means across the state. That means that our students at LFHS are at the 98th percentile. Are we perfect? No. Are we working like heck to make sure we're 100%? Absolutely. But I want to make sure we're painting a bigger picture than a narrow scope that sometimes people focus on. That being said, I don't shy away from data, and I want to make sure we're having real conversations with our parents and stakeholders. Expenditures are too high already. When I was hired a year and a half ago, which seems like an attorney, I'm aging in dog years, because I'm having that much fun. Sally Davis is with me right now, an esteemed 115 board member. They asked me, the 14 board members I proudly serve, asked me to look at both budgets. And after the first year, Sally, the 115 board, and myself ensured that we were spending in the black, and we turned that budget around in 1 year. We are no longer deficit spending, nor will we be deficit spending, and we're continuing to maintain a fund balance that is within the board recommended policy, and it's growing. So we are reducing where we can reduce while still maintaining the excellence in terms of programming and support. But are our expenditures high? I think that is relative given the population we have in the North Shore. But you should know that fiscal stewardship is of the utmost priority for the board and myself as a fiscally responsible leader. The student to administrator ratio is too high. We're hearing that as of late. You should know that our low numerator, so if you look at New Trier, there's 4,000 students, and there's one building principal. Lake Forest High School has 1,450 students, and there's one principal. So when you start running ratios, you need to consider the amount of students we're serving, and we have one principal, one associate principal, one athletic director. So if you are looking at the amount of students we're serving versus the administration we have, bear in mind that if you look at a Stevenson, if you look at a New Trier, those high school environments are much larger than what we have. I think that's a good thing because I would much rather, so I have 4 children, they're all in 67 right now. One of them is going to be a Lake Forest High School freshman next year. I would much rather, and I'm not throwing shade anywhere. I just know that for my own student, I want her to be known by face and name, and I want her to have the greatest level of support. I think we can do that because we have a smaller population. It just affords opportunities that are not always available in a bigger high school. There's also different ways to count administrators. So for example, in New Trier, they don't have instructional directors like we do at the high school. They have department chairs. If you call them department chairs, they're not included in your administration total. Stevenson has an athletic director, but it's not an administrator. They label them under the teacher's contract. So there's many different ways to label administration, so it's very hard to have a comparison without knowing everything that goes into how you're labeling your admin. You guys know that. Sometimes the population doesn't know that, so I think it's important that we talk about all the nuances on how you classify your staff. There has been questions about why can't we wait till the 2006 referendum is paid off. This is a simple dollar and cents. It's just going to cost more money. So every year we wait is an 8% escalator. So our $105.7 million project is going to turn into $120 million or more in 2 years if we were to wait 2 years, and we would get nothing more for that money. So the community is going to pay more if we wait. Moreover, if we delay, we run the risk of emergency repairs that will be 50 to 100% more and run the risk of shutting portions of that building down if something would fail, particularly in the area of life safety. So we're not waiting. This was a project that was started pre-pandemic, and it got put on pause March of 2020, And when I was hired, the board asked if I would look at revitalizing and picking up where Mike Simic started pre-pandemic, and it has been an honor to do that. But that is why we're here right now. How do we get this place to this place of urgency? Why weren't these issues handled sooner? I've been hearing this one off and on. Know that we spent $1 to $1.5 million in capital improvements every year for the last 10 years. So we are investing in the building, and we have a robust master facilities plan. But in 2006, there was an understanding that in 15 to 20 years, we would come back and invest in the building to address infrastructure in the rest of the classrooms. During that time frame, there was also a commitment to invest in programs and support system for our students. And I'm exceptionally proud that we are able to offer, let's look at athletics. I think 33 athletic opportunities, 67 clubs, 90% of our students are participating in some type of co-curricular, and a program or course catalog that would rival any high-performing district in the country. So that is something that I'm proud of and will continue to celebrate, and we need to invest in the building to make sure that that place is operational for many years to come. I am at 9 minutes and 12 seconds. What are your questions?
That was great, Matt. Thank you. Questions for Dr. Montgomery?
I have a question. First, I want to say I appreciate the public meetings that you've had over the past year and that they've been available online. I wasn't able to attend in person, but it was nice to watch them online. And I keep hearing about a facilities master plan. Is that a document that exists?
So there was a document by the previous facilities manager, her name was Carol, and now we have Dan Mortensen. And yes, there is a master facilities plan that is in existence, and that if you email me, I can share it with you.
Okay, so.
It's robust, there's multiple years in it, a spreadsheet telling you what needs to happen when, and there's 5, 10 years, and you can push and pull variables to see how to change things based on need.
Okay, that would be, for me at least, helpful to see, because I've gone on the website and it explains what you need, but it's nice to have a little more information.
Sure,
So.
and if we advance just a couple more, there is a I think that there's more information. If you scan that, which you don't have to do right now, but if you go one more, it'll take you to this landing page, which we build out for the referendum. We're continuing to build, which will show you the financials, the scope, who made up the oversight committee. FAQs are getting built real time. As well as the history of the facilities planning and voter information. So, Tim, it's a good idea. I don't know if that document is linked there, but I'd be happy to talk with Melissa Oakley to see if we can add it.
All right, thank you.
I have one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the specifics of a breakdown, what percentage is West Campus versus East?
We do not. I can find that out for you. I will tell you that the bulk.
Curious.
Yes, so very little is being spent in West right now, outside of roofing. There are things that we are investing in a short-term borrow. For example, we are improving our transitions program, which is held at West, which is for our students 18 through 22. That is not coming out of this bond, it's coming out of the short-term borrow. We're doing asphalt work at West, but it's more maintaining that facility than any other investment. And you should know, because I heard this in I just came off of an $86 million project in my previous gig. And the big question was, how much money are you spending on administration? Like, are they getting a new office? We're spending $0 on administration on either the West Campus or the East Campus. For some reason, people get excited about that. Thank you. 90% goes to my lovely assistant. 90% goes, I told you the bulk of it. I was close, right? If you want to be specific, 90 for East, 10 for West.
Gotcha.
In terms of the whole cost.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry I
Just
didn't have that on the top of my mind, but I will get it next time. That'll be in my evaluation.
I was planted to ask that question just to see if you knew.
There is continual improvement. I am in a state of continual improvement. Any other questions for me?
Anything else? Any comments?
I have a quick comment, and this is very detailed, so I apologize, but I'm an architect by trade who works in historic preservation. So I just wanted to say that I think it's very important if you can find a way to save the original windows on the original building, that would be wonderful. throwing away those windows is not the green thing to do, and new windows aren't as easy to repair as the historic windows are. So that's all, my little thing, but I appreciate
I will say
you
thank you,
saving-
Tim, and not elaborate. Duly noted. I'll talk to
And I
Perkins.
know you've heard a lot about that from the public, so.
We
I
are
just want-
doing our best to maintain historical, anything historical in that building. The windows is something of particular interest. And you know firsthand the complicated nature of replacing those windows. And if we were to replace them in the way in which you're describing versus a more traditional modernized approach and everything that goes in between it, it's going to come down to dollars and cents and how we can best divvy up those monies for kids. And I wrestle personally with one, we need to maintain the historical nature of the building, but two, when you're looking at if you have $105.7 million you want to spend, where do you want to spend it and where is the biggest ROI for kids? And I'm not telling you which way I'm falling on this right now, I'm just telling you that's something I wrestle with internally because we haven't even got to how we're going to replace the windows at this point.
Right, yeah.
Point well made.
It's it's
And-
not important, but it's just something I wanted to add.
Thank you, sir.
And as long as my locker is still there from 1988 and it's not touched.
I actually, we have it preserved and marked.
Excellent.
Yes. I'll just say as a parent of students who will be there eventually, thanks for the work you've done to get the school ready for future kids, not just current kids, but future kids, and that impacts Lake Bluff students. So just appreciate that. And thank you tonight for your answers too. I mean, a lot of the things that are your questions that you had up on the screen were things that I think we've all heard and seen and have had conversations about. So I thought your answers tonight clarified a lot of things and I appreciate that. So thanks for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, sir. And we will be doing a Let's Talk. That was the series that Tim was talking about. We'll do a Let's Talk, I think is it Wednesday? Can somebody help me? Is February 8th a Wednesday?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
So there will be a Let's Talk referendum on Wednesday, February 8th. That announcement is coming out soon, and we will have a whole panel of folks to answer any questions you have. And as I'm walking away, because I'm at 15 minutes and 11 seconds, I just want to say you have a fabulous superintendent. And after a decade in this role of superintendency, there are a few that I hold in such high regard. I'm not even making eye contact with her right now, but she's pretty special, and you are very fortunate to have her. So thank you so
He
much.
beat me to it.
We would all agree. So thank you.
Dr. Montgomery, thank you for your partnership. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sally and I are leaving.
Bye, Sally. Thanks for coming.
All right, with that being said, we'll move on to item number 6, which is the addition of a discussion item at each board meeting. We offer each board member the opportunity to suggest a discussion item for future agendas at future meetings. Does anybody have anything to suggest tonight?
I do.
Amy? Is it about your locker?
It's about my locker. I would like to add the conversation of sharing the responsibility of being a representative for True North with the current representative, because the current representative has a conflict with another board. The meetings are at the exact same time.
And just to be clear, Amy is the current representative. Make sure we all remember
Speaking
that.
of a third person.
Yeah. Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, there's some commitment needed there, and maybe it doesn't need to be just one person that fulfills that. So having a discussion about how we can fulfill that responsibility we have to True North. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And if you're interested, Dr. Schneider will be here in just moments to explain the future work of True North. So
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Amy. Any others? No other items? Okay. Great. Then we will move on to our reports section. And we'll start with our PTO report. We have Melissa Wusso and Lauren Armstrong joining us from the PTO tonight.
Good evening. I'm Lauren Armstrong, and this is Melissa Wusso. And we are filling in for Nicole Elliott tonight to give her a night off. Well-deserved night off.
Very well deserved.
The PTO had a very busy December. We had sweets tables at both LBES and LBMS for the teachers and staff and admin, which was very successful. We had a teacher, staff, and admin holiday gifting drive from parents and guardians and gave back all of what was collected, which was 120 gifts. That came out to be $63 in cash for each recipient, which they were very ecstatic and appreciative to receive. The LBES report, we had winter break parties on 12/18, which were a great success. And thank you to Megan Hadler, who sent home a winter break bingo card with every student that had a hot cocoa packet, little Hershey Kisses, and a candy cane. And almost 200 students completed the boards. So they will be receiving little prizes probably in the next 2 weeks for completing their boards. On January 20th and 21st, LBES had a game and puzzle swap, which was led by the Student Council. Planning is underway for grade level social events, and the room parents for each grade are planning those. The first event is Thursday for first grade, and it is a hot cocoa social, which will be held at the LBES playground.
I have the update on the sport court. Nicole went before with administration, school board support, all of the above, the Architectural Review Board on December 6th, and there was a recommendation for approval. The RIO PCZBA meeting was December 15th, which was also a recommendation for approval. And finally, last night, she went before the village board, and the recommendation passed unanimously, and she was granted permission to move forward with the start of the permitting process. The approval will be signed at the board hearing on February 13th. And the PTO as a whole, especially Nicole, would like to thank the school board and the administration for all of the support and all of the hours spent assisting in this process. So we'd like to ask you when you would like us to bring it to you for a vote.
I think as soon as we get our permits in order, then we can bring it to our school board for a vote.
Wonderful, thank you.
We have also been working on curriculum enhancement at both LBES and LBMS. We have secured a concert for the kindergartners, Jim Gill, who they love, and a cartoonist will be coming in for the fifth graders, which now, after meeting some of the fifth graders, seems more appropriate than I had anticipated. We are also working on spring service events and social events for adults, and those will be shared, I think, within the next couple of months.
Our spring student service event is in the planning process. We'll be working with Fill a Heart for Kids to pack backpacks with food and supplies for homeless and foster students who need a little support during breaks in summer, to make sure that they have those supplies that they need. The dates are to be determined, but there will also be a cash collection from families as well. And then our Valentine's Day parties at LBES is coming up on February 14th. The craft for those parties will once again be to create gratitude valentines for the staff at LBES. And that's all we have for an update. Anybody have any questions for us?
Questions, comments?
Thanks for all you do,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thanks for being here
Thanks
tonight.
for your
too.
support.
Thank you.
You are also welcome to stay for the whole meeting. Also, no worries if you leave. So thank you very much. Our next report tonight is from our Director of Finance and Operations, Jay Kahn.
Matt, do you want to come on up? I would like to introduce you to our new facilities manager, who will be approved later this evening, Matt Brugioni. Matt has been with the City of Lake Forest since 2011, where he has experience maintaining 36 city-owned properties, overseeing HVAC systems, plumbing, electrical, as well as renovations and code compliance. He's currently the street supervisor, responsible for over 35 employees and 200 miles of roadway. He manages a $3.5 million budget, as well as major capital projects, including sidewalk replacement, bridge and roadway construction. Prior to working for Lake Forest, Matt was a firefighter and advanced EMT for the Norwood Fire Department. Matt is a graduate of Lake Bluff School District 65 and has had some of the people in his room as teachers. Been here for a while. And he lives in the community. We had a rigorous selection process with over 40 qualified applicants for the job. Matt's management experience, communication skills, innovative problem-solving style, and knowledge of and love for the local community made him a clear favorite for the position. Matt will have some big shoes to fill as Steve Miller, who is retiring after over 20 years with the district, who's seen the building and demolition of several school buildings over his tenure, has done a fabulous job keeping our facilities clean, safe, comfortable, compliant, and in great condition. And we have every confidence that Matt will be very successful here. We're very excited to have him join us. So please welcome me and Devin.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you.
I also wanted to just update you on the village's stormwater utility fee that they're proposing. The village is very interested in stormwater, is sort of their top priority right now, and they are spending a lot of money on infrastructure and looking for ways to fund it. They will be hosting a number of informational meetings coming up if anyone is interested in attending. They're Wednesday, January 25th, Thursday, January 26th, and Saturday, the 28th, where they'll be talking about a fee that they're introducing to the community. It's be about $240 per household is the estimate. This will impact the school district because it's based on the square footage of non-permeable area of the facilities. It'll be about I'm guessing about $24,000 a year for the school district. So I just wanted to point that out, and I think we'll be talking later on this evening about ways, stormwater mitigation, things that the district can do, but I know it's a high priority for the village, and there are some fees coming. They've got a FAQ on their website, and there's those informational meetings if you wanted to attend.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Khan? Great, thank you. Move on to our Director of Student Services report, Tracy Rourke.
Good evening. I have just a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to share is our staff members at Lake Bluff Elementary School have started a new after-school reading program. So we have 24 students in grades 1 through 5 participating currently. We have 2 staff members who are the coordinators of the program who enlist the support of volunteers. They've collected names of students who are invited to this after-school program. The way that students are identified is they're students who are multilingual learners. They participate in our Tier 2 and Tier 3 reading instruction, or just have been identified by their classroom teachers as needing some extra support in reading. So far, we have had 15 different volunteers sign up, mostly teachers at this point or other staff members, but we also have some high school students from local high schools coming in to volunteer as well. We are coordinating with the Lake Bluff Library to have extra books sent over. So what we're doing is working with our classroom teachers to find out our upcoming units in science and social studies, and having those content area books sent over from the library so that our students read these books with adults, and then when they have this content within the school, they already have some background knowledge built and are ready to learn about these topics. Our groups meet on Mondays and Thursdays, so right now we have about 12 students coming on Mondays and 12 students coming on Thursdays. The idea is that over time we'll expand the program, so we continue to look for volunteers. We do have a sign-up genius that will begin to go home to parents and families, and we'll also start to enlist community members. So the more volunteers we have, the more students we can invite in for this after-school program. And then just 2 reminders. The first is we did open pre-registration for the 2023-24 school year. Pre-registration is for all families or students who are new to the district in pre-kindergarten through incoming 8th grade. So that opened today. Anyone can go on our website and pre-register for the next school year. And then this Thursday, we have our next Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee meeting. This is for all families who have students that participate in our multilingual programming. The topic for the event is participating in parent-teacher conferences. So we have teachers from each building who will be presenting on the structure of parent-teacher conferences, how to sign up for conferences, good questions to ask teachers when they go to their conferences. So that's 6:30 p.m. at the elementary school. Pizza will be provided.
Great.
Any questions?
Questions? Thanks, Tracy. Okay, moving on then to our final two reports. The first one is my president's report, just three quick things. Number one, I know Melissa and Lauren mentioned this in the PTO update, but just a huge thank you to Nicole Elliott, president of our PTO, who, aside from the hard work, the organization, the tireless work she put into collaborating with the community and the administration and all of us and doing something that's going to really benefit kids for years to come. She also took a lot of heat, a ridiculous amount of heat, actually. And I just want to thank her for sticking with that and working through it. And I want to thank the various village boards and committees that that ultimately recommended that this be something that benefits our kids for years to come. Thanks to Nate and the administration of the middle school as well for working so closely with Nicole, as well as Dr. Leali and Jay especially. So thanks, Nicole, again. If you hear this, we could not thank you enough. And that process reminds me that Lake Bluff will always do what's right for kids. Not just our district, but that's a value of our village, and I think this was a good indicator of that. Secondly, just want to highlight Dr. Leali's conversation series. The next one is February 22nd from 4 to 5 p.m. It's a topic I think all of us could probably benefit from in some way or another: what makes relationships thrive. So again, this information went out through email, I think, last Monday, a couple Mondays ago. So again, February 22nd, 4 to 5 p.m., district office, What Makes Relationships Thrive, Dr. Leali's conversation series. And I think there will be another one in March, April, and May.
Yes.
And we do, I know you are asking for RSVPs, but it would be great if we can get some community members there, because I think Dr. Leali has a lot of great things to say. And in that document that went out to parents, there's a really great podcast too from a psychologist that's worth listening to. So hope to see people there. And kind of on the same topic, I know we talked about this openly at a couple meetings, but the board wanted to celebrate Dr. Leali's recent accomplishment of her book publication, Leading Through Chaos. And we're hoping sometime in March to do a book presentation for the community as well as maybe a book signing. Let's get your pen ready. But we've talked about that openly, and more information will be to come. But we would love for other superintendents, other school leaders, of course, our own district parents to be there for that. There's a lot of great, if you haven't read the book, a lot of great things in that book, and a lot of ways to be proud of our district that are reflected in there. So just want to highlight that. More to come. And that's it for me.
Thank you. I'll move on. I appreciate all of that, and also would echo the sport court. I'm really excited about that for our students. That's going to be great. Really quickly, 5 Essentials, which is the culture and climate survey that is the data reported on our state report card that's open. We'll be sending out the links to parents on Monday. Please encourage other parents to go in and fill it out. I know it's a long survey. Unless we get 20%, we don't get any data back from our parent group. And so it's really important for us to be able to address anything that needs to be addressed or celebrate things that are going well. So if you could take a moment, I know you have to do it with every student. I have to do it too for my own children in their district. So we would really appreciate that. And then finally, we met this week again with our board reps, Tim Penich and Amy Connell-Donahue, along with our former village president, Kathy O'Hara, and a couple of staff representatives, that we are planning our 100th anniversary of the first school board in District 65. And we're working with the Lake Bluff History Museum, which will have an exhibit that will be popping up around February. That will be the beginning of the celebration, and then we're hoping to end our celebration here at a board meeting in May, when our new board is seated, kind of celebrating the past and looking into the future. So look for ways to get involved with that. We're looking for stories. We're looking for pictures. We have alum that can be interviewed. I'm sure there's tons of material out there. We just want to celebrate how great this district and community are.
Okay, is that it?
That is it.
Any questions, Dr. Leali? Great. Okay, so many great things happening here. All right, so finally, we're moving on to item number 8. I want to thank Dr. Schneider for sticking with us through this so far, but we do have Dr. Kurt Schneider, Superintendent of the True North, and I think Tracy is going to introduce.
I'll
Lisa's gonna-
introduce it.
okay,
Yep,
great.
I think we put that on there, but I'm gonna take care of it.
Okay.
I'm so proud to have two of my partners in crime here, Dr. Matt Montgomery and Dr. Kurt Schneider, that we work so closely together to support our students after they leave us, and also those students that have some more significant needs while they're with us. So I invited Dr. Schneider to come and talk with us about the strategic plan that was just adopted and developed by various stakeholders in the 18 districts that make up the True North collaboration. I think there's some really great goals in there. I was able to sit, as well as many members of our team were able to sit and provide input and feedback into the strategic plan. And I think what they've come out with in terms of high-level goals are going to be really great for our students and communities. And I know there's more action planning and things to come, but just as a very high level, I'm hoping that Dr. Schneider can just walk us through it and let us know what the goals are for the future.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you for inviting me. I'm in great company with Dr. Montgomery and Dr. Leali. The last time I was here, I was able to be in person with Dr. Sophie a couple of years ago, if you remember, but I had a tire malfunction today, so I am carless. So I'm on Zoom. So thank you for the adjustment, and I'll walk you through, what we've been working on for the region, and then take any questions. First and foremost, the name change wasn't this plan, but just so you all know, the little bit of meaning behind the True North name versus the Northern Suburban Special Education name is really at the cornerstone of all of this work, is that we're true to the values of diversity and equity in all forms of students and their particular backgrounds. We wanted to make sure that we maintain our identity geographically, so North became really important to a lot of families. And then when you put the two together, obviously True North represents direction and forward thinking, and making sure that all students, have that North Star, and that are guided by values that I'll talk about in the coming slides. So that's the reason for the name change. And I'm happy to walk you through what we're proposing and the board is looking to adopt at next week's meeting.
Amy, I think we can put up the presentation. Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with the next slide, and then we'll just walk through. So the strategic plan will be a 5-year plan, and as Lisa mentioned, continuous improvement for all districts is really about not what you do well, that's work. Continuous improvement is about actually removing all of the things that get in the way of doing our work well. It's the headaches, the things that slow us down. That's what continuous improvement is all about. And so you'll see that reflected in our goals. There were various phases to this. So for us to try to do a strategic plan across 18 school districts, that means 18 school boards, 18 superintendents, 18 of everything, took us about 1.5 years. And so the first spring semester last year was around gathering a lot of different data sources. And so I just want to highlight that we gathered information about student achievement, particularly for students with disabilities, but what we wanted to do was also look at all student groups. So how are students of color doing? How are students who are English learners doing? How are students from low-income backgrounds doing? Because there's a lot of intersections across students. No student sort of fits neatly into one sort of category, and we wanted to get a feel for how all students were doing, who come from traditionally, diverse backgrounds. Those reports might be helpful to you. They've been made available. You can see all kinds of trends, both academic achievement trends and also climate and culture trends across the full region. And so those are just helpful for you. In addition to that particular quantitative report, we also then wanted to know what are the best instructional practices that would be aligned to actually moving the achievement and behavioral climate data forward. And so there's an additional report about that particular various instructional practices. So from all of that data, then we wanted to hear qualitative data. So what did people actually across the region have to say? So we had, if you can go back just one slide, if we had a community engagement event in the fall. That was, across all people, and they gathered at tables to really discuss 3 essential questions. What were sort of their hopes and dreams? What did they have for a vision? What did they see as areas that we needed to grow? There was a survey that was done. We had about 1,000 families across the region take a particular survey around diversity. And then in addition, we did interviews and focus groups. So all of that qualitative data, along with the quantitative data, so it was a mixed methods strategic plan, then led into the next slide, which is a core group of people from across the region, took that information, and it was facilitated by Hazard Young and Atia, and we had to boil it down. And there are just pages and pages and tons of information. And so that group committed a lot of time this fall, approximately 21 hours over the course of about 5 to 6 meetings, to really develop what I'm going to share with you. So we're really excited about it. We wanted to ensure that it's seen as a national exemplar, that we weren't just hoping to do, a few nice tweaks and things, across the region, but really spearheading, work around diversity that would be a good national example. So for example, some highlights, what we saw in the region, and you can then talk, internally about what this means for Lake Bluff, but across all 18 districts, when we did that quantitative analysis, we saw that academic discrepancies begin as early childhood. And so that becomes a compounding issue that we all wrestle with. That the largest gaps in achievement and around behavior and climate are for students with disabilities, students that come from low-income backgrounds, and students who are Black. The graduation rate for students with disabilities is 12% less than their non-disabled peers. And you're more likely, if you have an IEP, to be included with your non-disabled peers in the elementary and middle schools than you are at the high school setting. And then lastly, unique to sort of the North Shore culture is the Section 504 plans. The amount of students qualifying is double the state average. So again, I mentioned we had a community event, a survey, focus groups, that best practice report. And then we had this core group of people. So you would have participated in Lake Bluff through various focus groups and participating at the board table and so on and so forth. But this particular group of people represented the 3 regions, and then also my staff. And it also included our board president, vice president, and a superintendent representative. So our mission statement continues to be committed to the possibilities in every learner every day. And for us, that means truly every learner. So that means the adults, that means custodial staff, that means paraprofessionals, that means students. So we have professional learning that cuts across all employee groups. We wanted to make sure that we were clear on our values, that a collective group felt that these needed to be highlighted, that we needed to continue to value collaborative relationships across the region, that we needed to all stand for inclusive learning environments, that we all recognize that some level of transformational change is going to need to occur in systems, and that we really needed to be responsible collectively in advocating for students who may not always be able to advocate for themselves. And the whole point of a cooperative is to try to do as much sharing of resources and knowledge as possible. So one of our first goals here is around learning, and it's to work with districts to continue to develop a continuum of inclusive educational opportunities for all students. What we know is when students are with their peers as much as possible, that's the biggest bang for your buck to improve their learning. The more separated students are over time actually has the opposite effect. And so the more that we can work in partnership all the way through secondary is going to be the best recipe for having students make as much growth in their school experience as possible. Advocacy. There's a lot of barriers. Illinois is currently ranked 47th out of 50 states in terms of how segregated we are, particularly for students with disabilities. So when students exit the school system, we spend a lot of money and a lot of time trying to do the right thing all along. And what happens is we fund the most segregated number of state institutions in the country. And so the dollars that end up following that particular segregated path far exceed the dollars that support individuals to be right within their communities. So we don't fund at the same rate employment, transportation, housing, somebody to eat with on Friday night. And so we need to form a regional advocacy effort to help challenge some of the state funding structures that were well-intentioned probably years ago that are no longer aligned to best practices. Communication is always an area, especially across so many people, and making sure that people have the information and it's transparent and accessible in the best possible way, especially as systems are trying to transition to be more and more inclusive. And so, continuing to have strategies to get information that's accurate out to the public is an area that we want to continue to address. And then resource allocation. There are areas now, as people have more opportunities to be in their school districts, in their home schools, and in their home classrooms with everyone else, there's less of a reliance on a traditional segregated program or a segregated classroom. And so what we need to do is figure out how to remain relevant so that we can continue to partner with you right within your districts instead of sending students out to a cooperative classroom. How can staff go into districts? And what then does that look like in terms of finances, and how do we best develop it so that it's fiscally responsible, so that it's best for students and it's also at the same time more fiscally responsible than having more self-contained classrooms outside of school districts. So this again will get approved in February, and then there'll be a rollout and a communication plan thereafter. And we even have a cool little video that's been professionally developed that'll help explain all of this as well. And so what they say about the brand is, important when you're not in the room. So we want to make sure we have a really nice video that superintendents and school boards can use to talk about True North. So I can take any questions.
And the Leadership LC stands for Leadership Council. Just as a reminder, I sit on the Leadership Council as a Northern Region representative. So I represent superintendents in 5 other school districts, but then Amy is our District 65 representative. So if you're interested in learning more about how True North supports our students with complex learning needs, this is a great opportunity to get involved. There's lots of information presented, and obviously Tracy works closely with that organization as well to ensure that our resources are allocated correctly for those students.
And I've got to just personally give a shout out for Mark Berry, who is with us a long time, almost probably, I think, well over a decade. Amy's been a nice addition as well, and Jay Kahn sits on our finance committee as well. And has been instrumental in helping us rethink the finances. So there's been a lot of participation from your system into ours, and a lot of hours and time that goes into that. And we've always been welcomed, and we've always had, anytime we've needed anything, your district employees and staff step up right away. So it's just been a really pleasure to work with Lake Bluff.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Thanks for that, Kurt. That was a great overview. We much appreciate you taking the time and sitting through the early part of the meeting too. So.
No problem. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Kurt.
You too.
Have a good night.
Yep, bye.
All right, great. Moving on, we have 6 quick approvals tonight, so we'll move on to our action items part. The first one is approval of our 2023-2024 board meeting calendar. This has come up into open discussion a number of times, including presented at our last meeting earlier this month. So with that being said, may I have a motion to approve the 2023-2024 board meeting calendar as presented by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Okay, let's do we don't need a roll call for this, actually.
No
So,
money, no problem.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's the first time we've done one of those in a long time. Great. Moving on to item B, press policy 100 approval. May I have a motion to approve? Again, this is something we looked at and discussed last time in our policy committee. Thanks to those of you on the policy committee for all the work you put into policy in general, including in this press packet. So may I have a motion to approve press policy 110 as presented by administration?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's do a roll call for this one.
Okay, Carrie Steinbach, yes. Tim Penich?
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue?
Yes.
Andy Duran?
Yes.
Ann Hill?
Yes.
Mark Barry?
Yes.
And Lauren Hirsch?
Yes. That motion passes. Great. Third one is approval of the LBES, Lake Bluff Elementary School parking lot proposal. Again, this is something that Jay presented in great detail at the last meeting. It's in our packet. Any final things on the parking lot before we ask for motion?
I don't believe so. We separated into two proposals as was asked for last time.
Great. So taking this first one, may I have a motion to approve the LBES parking lot proposal as presented here by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Does, what we're approving, is it just for the bollards or does it include the planters as well?
It includes some of the planters as well. It would be up to the budget. Once we get this approval, we still have to go through, for both of these, some of the same processes we went through for the sport court, the architectural review board, and at that point, once the board approves the budget and the path forward, the architects will do final drawings, and then we can go out to bid and things like that. So it's not set in
It's not
stone
as-
yet,
okay.
but we can still modify it. It's just a general approval for the concept.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Middle school too.
We'll do that next.
Any other question on the elementary school proposal? Okay, great. Then may I have a motion to approve the parking lot proposal as presented? We already had a motion in a second. Sorry. So let's do a roll call.
Sure. Tim Penich?
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue?
Yes.
Andy Duran?
Yes.
Ann Hill?
Yes.
Mark Barry?
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch?
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach, yes.
Okay, that motion passes. Next one is approval of the Lake Bluff Middle School parking lot proposal. Again, discussed in detail at the last meeting. May I have a motion to approve the LBMS parking lot proposal as presented here by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions?
Just for clarification, you can approve either option 2, which is the paver option, or option 1, which is the 100% asphalt option.
I do have one question about that, actually. We talked about the last meeting. Do we know yet if using the permeable surfaces will reduce our stormwater fee to the village?
I did look at it. I believe that if we do the project and have it approved, that they would adjust our square footage. It's, I think, $1,500 a year, so it's not a huge amount, but it's definitely something the village is interested in. And they actually, I've already sort of looked for grant opportunities, but they said they would also look at other funding sources for us to do that.
Great.
And regardless, as we discussed, I know last time, the pavers is the more eco-friendly, environmentally friendly option. Is that right?
That is correct.
And requires less maintenance than all asphalt
Correct.
moving forward.
Which also is a nice offset to the non-permeable sport court that is going on our east lot.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah, good point.
Any other comments or questions before we bring it to a vote?
So we're voting 1 or 2?
So we would need a motion for either 1 or 2.
Do we need that, or can we just vote for the concept?
It would be nice to have it clear, just.
Okay.
Option 2 is the one with the pavers, and option 1, just so we have in the minutes that you've approved.
So any thoughts on that? My recommendation would be to go with option 2 with the pavers, but
Mine would be option 2 as well.
Yeah, me too.
sounds like
I
we're,
agree.
Mark, Lauren,
I agree.
Carrie. Okay, sounds like we have consensus
Do
there.
we need to make a motion does somebody need to make a motion to go with option 2?
Yeah, let's make a new motion to approve option 2 with the pavers as presented by administration.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so let's do a roll call for that specific motion.
Okay. Amy Connell Donahue?
Yes.
Andy Duran?
Yes.
Ann Hill?
Yes.
Mark Barry?
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch?
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach, yes. Tim Penich?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously as well. Personnel report, very quick tonight, only one thing. We've already been introduced to our one non-licensed new hire, but that's Matthew Brugioni, Facilities Manager, who's based out of the district office, effective March 1st, 2023, replacing Steve Miller, who's retiring. at a salary rate of $103,000 per year plus a family HMO. We do have no resignations, terminations, licensed new hires, or FMLA requests for this personnel report. So may I have a motion to approve the personnel report for January 24th, 2023 that was just read and presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
No.
Okay, roll call then, please.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach, yes. Tim Penich?
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue?
Yes.
Andy Duran?
And yes, so that passes as well. Congrats again to Matt.
Congratulations, Matt. Welcome back.
Great to have it along. Okay, last one is the consent agenda. This month's consent agenda includes the following: the open session meeting minutes from the January 10th, 2023 regular Board of Education meeting, the treasurer's report, the impressed report, the bills report, and the P-card report. Would anyone on the board like to have anything pulled out of the consent agenda for further discussion? Nope. Okay, then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for January 24th, 2023 as presented by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach, yes. Tim Penich?
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue?
Yes.
Andy Duran?
Yes.
Ann Hill?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes as well. Agenda item number 10 is FOIA requests. We had one FOIA request this month as shown in the board packet. It's one that we get all the time. So may I have a motion to approve the FOIA request as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Everybody now.
Aye.
No financials out, great. Okay, last item before adjournment is public comment. We offer 2 opportunities for public comment. Most of our room has left, but if there's anybody still remaining that'd like to make public comment, now would be the time to do so. Anybody? Okay, anybody virtually? Nothing, great. That's easy then, so we will move to adjourn. So may I have a motion to adjourn the January 24th, 2023 regular Board of Ed meeting at 8:17 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Thanks,
Meeting is
everyone.
adjourned.
Good night, guys. Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you.